World Tree Productions presents the +1 Eco Odyssey, a new reality TV series highlighting 7 amazing young eco-entrepreneurs from across the globe who are competing to win a $50,000 prize and a 12-month mentorship to scale their business. This season is all about water, our most precious resource. Watch as these entrepreneurs tell us what they are doing to solve the climate crisis from their corner of the world. We'll feature youth eco-innovations that address shark conservation, ocean garbage cleanup, and fast fashion.
We started this company as students. We saw the problem of sort of garbage in the water, the fact that there's an environmental and commercial problem that we can solve.
So the removal of apex predators can really push an ecosystem out of stability and cause havoc for everything else in our ecosystem, including humans. With 100 million sharks being killed every year, our biggest goal is to keep sharks safe.
So it is kind of funny that I'm now running a water sustainability business. I got such benefits from water, and in a way I'm kind of giving back to what helped me.
Well, the apparel industry is the second largest polluter in the world, so it says a lot to how polluting fast fashion is. So we're looking to replace stretchy fibers. Through its production is carbon negative, net zero waste, uses zero fresh water and zero toxic chemicals.
Plus, solutions for irrigation and agriculture.
Hello, my name is Ivan Cho. I'm from South Korea. I developed a clean water solution that can be provided to the farmers all around the world.
Gen Z can make the world where a future is guaranteed.
We are helping the farmers struggling from the water shortage, and their yield improve like 15%.
I've always had the privilege to always have easy access to clean water sources. A lot of people having to walk long distances to access this fundamental right, it really opened my eyes to how opposing our realities can be on other sides of the globe. Once a sensor has been inserted into the ground and only irrigate when the lawn needs to be irrigated. We as Gen Z and young change makers want to make change. We are the future of the world. In order to ensure that we make the change that we want to make happen, we must start now.
Cheer on our Gen Z contestants as they compete in a fun challenge each episode, and where a panel of judges will rank them from 1 to 7, highest to lowest, on the +1 leaderboard. Welcome back to the +1 Eco Odyssey. I'm Shaylin, the show host. Today, we're talking with Greg from Ireland, who's developed a valve to help prevent water leakage.
People do think of Ireland as a very wet country, and that's not wrong. We are an island surrounded by water. It does rain all the time, although it's not raining right now at this moment. But it is a strange place to think that we have a water crisis, but we do. Water is a huge issue, obviously in this country and worldwide, and water scarcity. The UN estimates that by 2030, which is only 6 years away, there's going to be a 40% shortfall for fresh water. 50% or more of our fresh water gets lost in leaks every year. And so we're seeing increased pressure on the water system. So from the outside, it may not seem like the right country to start an eco water sustainability business, but actually when you look at the facts and you look at the numbers, unfortunately it is. I am co-founder of Water Sustainability Ireland. The name is quite literal, but there was depth behind the thinking on it. So sustainability is a buzzword these days. Everybody talks about sustainable energy, sustainable water practice, sustainable living. But we go a step further in that we want it to be environmentally sustainable, but also commercially sustainable. So the idea is that if someone works with us and buys our solution, yes, they save water, but they also save money, and they'll get a return on their investment.
There's an old saying, is it, you don't measure it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
in the north of Ireland, end consumers are charged for water. When we think about Ireland in the context of Europe, we're also one of the highest cost of water per meter cube. So the cost of water here is very significant to us and to our government, which means we need to be protecting consumption.
If we can all bring something valuable to the business, I'm a sales background, Greg is from an IT background, and then Mick is from a technical background. I think it's kind of, there's a harmony there between the three of us.
Partnership for me is, first is diversity in how you think, how you operate, transparency and trust that allows you to understand each other, to talk it through. Trust and support is ultimately supporting each other through the challenges that you're going to have to deliver the outcomes that you mutually agree upon.
Because you come from different backgrounds, you have different perspectives, different ideas, and they may not always fit together. People can explain why they think we should approach something in a certain way, even if it conflicts with another person. Generally speaking, you will choose one of those options, or you'll come up with a third solution that incorporates both perspectives. So the communication element is huge. Water Sustainability Ireland is based on 3 elements, but this is the key element. This is what's called the wave valve. This solves 2 problems, believe it or not. The first problem is that there is an issue, not only in Ireland, but worldwide, with water meters. Water meters don't distinguish between air and water. They just measure volume. And so if air bubbles or a lot of air passes through a water meter, it actually reads it as water volume used, and then you ultimately end up paying for that. And so the general number is about 30% of what people pay for is actually air. What this valve does is we place it in a pipe after the water meter, but it creates a compression zone back through where the meter reads. And so any air bubbles will get compressed, and so you'll get a much more accurate reading on your water bill, which ultimately results in lower costs, which is great for business.
Once we've installed the valve, we needed to bring a technology component to what is currently just a plumbing device. This is one of our devices. Again, it wraps around the meter and reports back consumption of water.
So this is what's called an inline water meter, which means that at any point a client can take a look on their mobile app and see the usage that they're using on an hourly, daily, weekly, monthly basis. What's crucial about this is obviously, if looking at the data you suddenly see a high spike in water usage, that indicates that there's been some kind of leak and there's water spilling out somewhere. This meter also contains a shut-off valve, so that if, and then out of nowhere, there's this huge spike at 3 in the morning when the premises is closed and not operational, this will detect the leak, notify you via smartphone app, but then also shut down your water flow. So it means that ultimately no water is wasted, which is a key component. On the sustainability side, what it does is water that comes from the mains, let's say on every street you have very large pipes running under the road, but you could be a small coffee shop, and so you don't need really highly pressurized water coming into your small business. What can happen is the overpressurized water, will put a lot of strain on your pipes. This can cause the pipes to burst, it can cause leaks, and then you have issues with wasted water essentially. The second part is when you turn on a tap or a faucet, the water is so pressurized that it comes out at such a high speed that even if you just want to wash a mug or a glass or something like that, you end up using far more water than you actually need to complete the task. But the speed at which it's flowing is reduced, and therefore you're using less water as a result. To build a customer base for a product like this, there's nothing comparable to it. And we said, okay, we have a water sustainability business. Who uses the most amount of water? We segmented that up, everything from hospitality, so you have hotels, particularly hotels that have swimming pools. That's a huge, huge market for us. And then you have warehouses and you have data centers in Ireland and everything. So we segmented up the different markets and we said, okay, we'll pick one, which was hospitality. And so it was everything from cold outreach to tapping up friends and family to actually walking into buildings. And you'd be surprised. Nowadays everything's online, but actually walking into someone and saying, hey, we have a water business. We believe we can save you, would you take a meeting with us? More often than not, people actually say yes, so there is a human element to that as well. We're going to be collecting a lot of data around water consumption habits, about how frequently leaks can spring up, everything. And so we know that that data is going to be very powerful and very valuable as well. And we're not really aware of anyone else who would have that level of data in the market that we operate in. And so the time can come that we can analyze that data, we can monetize that data as another form of an income stream for the business. Everyone from the public water utility to perhaps other private companies would also be interested in that. So far on Eco Odyssey, it's been an experience. The thing I was most nervous about was the challenges. Even from a company point of view, having to have those conversations we don't normally have, I found it so beneficial to do. If we did win, there are so many things we could do in terms of developing out our software platform, developing out potentially a residential solution, because this issue exists not only in commercial buildings, marketing activities, development activities. The end goal is obviously the consumer gets the best product possible, the best solution possible, and therefore we can save the most amount of water as possible. Ireland still has quite a village mentality in that it still seems quite small and everybody talks to each other. But that's a benefit. If you have a good product and you install it in a few places, it means that people will talk to people. And so you can get a lot of work through word of mouth. We have an online presence. We do paid for digital campaigns. What you find is they will look us up, but then they'll also look to see, well, do I actually know anyone who's used this service or product before? So it's kind of a combination of casting a wide net, but then getting down to the actual word of mouth. A guy actually said to us 2 weeks ago, he said ordinarily they wouldn't let companies as young as us in the phase we're in even pitch to them, but he said he thought what we were doing was interesting, and he was older and he liked the idea of young people starting out, so he thought it was good. They open and say, okay, we understand that we're new and this might be a bit risky for you, so we'll propose that we'll actually install it first and show you it works before you pay. And so then from his point of view, the risk is mitigated somewhat then. A handful of the places we are speaking to now and are installing in the coming weeks, they have premises in the UK and throughout Europe also. So there is a chance that very quickly this could snowball to be outside of this island and across to other countries as well. Today is Good Friday, and for hundreds of years, up until 3 years ago, it was illegal to buy alcohol on Good Friday. People hated the day, so what people would do the day before would be stock up on beer and drink it at home, or count down until midnight, and you could actually go out at 1 minute past midnight to a club because it was technically the next day and you would go out drinking then. Sláinte. The pub has always been the centre of an Irish community, let's say, and this pub in particular in Dublin, I used to come here a lot with my friends when we were younger. I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I'm lucky I can get Guinness Zero and non-alcoholic booze. I mean, it's where people meet for social reasons, where people meet for romantic reasons. If there's a funeral, people always meet afterwards in the pub, so a lot happens in an Irish pub, let's say. I was born and raised in Ireland. My mum is Irish, my dad is from Malaysia. He came to Ireland in the 70s. He moved here and settled here, he met my mum. I've had interest, let's say, outside of the regular world. And I ended up getting a job in Bali in Indonesia, teaching people a sort of, let's call it a sustainable method of plant-based cooking. Probably wouldn't have stayed there if I'm being honest, but I ended up getting a job back in Ireland then, where I was co-presenting on a show on Irish TV. That was more about life transformation and more to do with helping people. For the first time in almost 10 years, it felt like I had a strong influence or control over my mental state. So for a long time, I felt like I was just at the mercy of, I would wake up having a bad day or something minor would happen that would set off my brain on a negative loop. And I was just, whatever way that went, I was along for the ride. Mental health is becoming a bigger and bigger issue these days. I think it's good because there's more conversation around it, and it's much better that that's happening than people are suffering in silence. Managing your mental health and having good mental health is such a powerful piece of being a business owner, an entrepreneur, in fact in any area of your life, I should say. In my teens and early 20s, I struggled massively with my mental health. So it started out with quite severe anxiety and panic attacks around everything to do with school, tests, exams, social situations, all of that. Keeping it private was the worst thing I could do because it got worse and worse and worse. It all culminated in when I was about 20, 21 years old. It got so bad that I took an absence from college and I could barely get through the days, and ultimately I did end up, I did attempt to take my own life. and that resulted in me going into the mental health system and seeking treatment. Slowly but surely I started to come up with ways to improve my mental health. What I personally found benefited me a lot was taking cold plunges, and either that's in the ocean here in Ireland or in an ice bath, or sometimes a cold shower if I don't have access to open bodies of water. But we're going to get in for a swim and get some good health benefits. All right, off we go. The idea behind what people call mindfulness is to be present in the moment, and it's very difficult to get into cold water and think of anything else apart from the present moment, but it does really work if you have, say you're in an anxious state or you have negative thoughts looping. Getting in cold water will actually break your brain worrying about the past or the future, whatever it may be, and you're just in the moment. The relief you get from a sense of that is great because it feels like you have control as opposed to your brain's running in a direction and you're along for the ride. You can stop that and you can change the direction, and it's so powerful. I got such benefits from water, and in a way I'm kind of giving back to what helped me. So if anyone is struggling with their mental health, you're not alone. You should talk to someone. And even if that's a family member, a friend, a parent, and just the act of saying, look, I'm actually really struggling with my anxiety, or I'm not feeling good and it's been going on for a while, that relieves so much of the weight that's on you. Try different things, find out what works for you, and most importantly, I would say talk to someone about it. So to a young entrepreneur, if you care about it, if you have some kind of connection or passion towards it, it means that you will go longer and you will go further, and you will also push through the challenges. There's a lot of learning involved, but if you position yourself as, okay, I want to get involved here, I don't necessarily know a whole lot, but I can learn, I can adapt, I can gain different skills, I can speak to people who already work in the fields. It can be daunting, let's say, in the beginning, but I think if you have energy and enthusiasm towards it and you're willing to learn, that's the key thing, if you're willing to learn. On the surface, I look like a hippie with my long hair and my let's say, plant-based lifestyle and whatnot, but it very much aligns with my own internal philosophy on let's say, life. And I do have a certain element of spirituality about myself when I think about the world and where we are and where things are going and whatnot, and perhaps what one could do. Because in order to make a change, the world is run in a capitalistic system, so you have to be commercially viable as well in order to make lasting, effective change, let's say. A lot of what I've done almost like built up to this. Part of what appealed to me was I said, okay, this has a potential to be very commercially successful, but it's doing something that is, it's that phrase, conscious capitalism, let's say. It's doing something that's beneficial for everyone. I felt very, let's say, aligned with it, and I felt like I could give it my all because I believed in it.
It's challenge time! Here's how the leaderboard scoring works. A score of 1 equals 10 points, a score of 2 equals 8 points, and so on until a score of 7, which equals 1 point. The judges will rank each contestant from 1 to 7 on their performance, best score to worst, on the +1 leaderboard, based on how complete, concise, and compelling their answers are. Let's meet the judges. Shannon Crone is managing partner at Ernst & Young, an Ironman triathlete, and an EY Entrepreneur of the Year director. She's joined by Will Sarney, a world-renowned water expert, author, and founder of Water Foundry Ventures, and Dr. Nusha Ajami, Chief Strategy and Development Officer at Lawrence Berkeley Lab, and an expert in water policy and innovation.
This week's challenge is called the elevator pitch. You have just attended a seminar where the partner of a prominent venture capital fund spoke about the importance of sustainable investments, where the aim is to achieve market rate financial returns while considering positive social or environmental impacts. You find yourself riding the elevator alone with her and have 30 seconds to get her interested in investing in your company and innovation. Make sure you close with a strong call to action.
Doors opening. Going up.
Oh, hi. I just heard you speak. So my name is Greg. I'm
Doors
from Water
closed.
Sustainability Ireland. We have a solution that not only saves clients water, but also saves them money. It allows them to digitally monitor all their usage and reduces your bill up to 30%. This is sustainable both for the planet and for the business. And our business model means that it is commercially viable over the long term. And so, based on what you said, I think this is a perfect opportunity for you to invest and get involved in. And this is an opportunity you do not want to miss.
The elevator pitch happens more often than not. So once you start a company, you are out in the world, out in the marketplace, and it won't be an elevator that you find yourself in, but it will be at an event, at a cocktail hour, whatever it may be, and you're going to have to strike up a conversation and seize the moment and engage with someone on your company. Really, the critical thing in all of this is really ensuring that you introduce yourself. Don't go right into the pitch.
This is not an uncommon experience, and it is important for innovators and startup founders to be able to kind of be fast and be able to have a ready message that can help them to get a first meeting set up. It is really important. They get someone's interest going, they get them to pay attention and be able to pitch their idea to them in a way that make them want to know more.
Greg's elevator pitch, fabulous. Great intro, again, very personable. And then the value proposition. So that was really nice, really nice to see. And he will do well in this aspect of what it takes to start up a company and scale it.
Did you know that 100 million sharks are killed each year, and a large proportion of those are in shark nets, which are in South Africa and Australia and in other countries like the Reunion. It's critical that we get rid of these, and we've developed an environmentally friendly solution that mitigates the shark-human conflict.
Kezia walking in had very good stats ready to go. Statistics are always one of the best ways of getting a conversation started. I suggest working on her opening statement and how to get this person interested.
Oh, hi. I just heard you talk about sustainability. By the way, you know the marine industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world. But here's the crazy part. There's all this regulation that's causing people to change which boats they use. And I happen to run a startup where we make unmanned electric boats. They produce zero emissions and you can actually run completely remotely. We're scaling up from 10 boats to 100 boats now. And yeah, you should speak to us. Let's talk about an investment soon.
My view is that Sid won this challenge because he was personable. He knew he was going into an elevator and speaking to a person and had to connect with that person immediately in the first 2 seconds. And he did that. I felt like he was speaking to me. It's not about the elevator pitch being, hi, my name is blank, and let me tell you about my business, and can you invest in me? I mean, that's a turnoff. So Sid had that personal touch.
So we are making 100% biodegradable polymer from the bio-waste to solve the farmer water problem. This product helps farmer to save 40% water, improve 20% yield, and also increase the productivity for the farmers 20%. And this can solve the big drought problem in the global market.
Ryan pitch without an intro is really not helpful. And, I appreciate that he was not in an elevator, but nevertheless, just understanding that this is role playing. And when you have a startup, you're kind of role playing all the time.
Hi, my name is Kushi Shah, and I'm the founder and CEO of Drizzle. Drizzle is a smart irrigation system that leverages communication between underground sensors in the corresponding app to optimize water usage and minimize consumer costs. With the opportunity to save 13.5 billion liters of water daily worldwide and individually save up to 20% on water bills, I would like to ask you to help me help the world find the smart way to irrigate.
Kushi, you jumped straight into an intro of yourself and your product. I thought you explained your product and benefit in a very clear way. You talked about 13.5 billion liters of water worldwide and being able to have a 20% reduction individually. And I think having statistics like that available at the tip of your tongue is a great way to showcase your knowledge of your business. You were one of the few entrepreneurs that had an ask at the end. I think you said, I'd like for you to help me help the world find the smart way to irrigate. I would just then turn that into, can I set up some time with you? You're really getting across to the individual that you're ready to proceed. Let's have this next conversation.
Going down.
Hi, my name is Jan, and I'm one of the co-founders at Fiber.bio. We have made a sustainable alternative to polyester, spandex, and elastane. If you are interested in learning more, I'd be happy to tell you more about it. We are the first and only to market that have been able to create a sustainable replacement to these stretchy fibers. Textile industry is the world's second largest polluter in the world, and so I'd be happy to chat and tell you more about our sustainable solution to fast fashion.
Jaya's pitch without an opening intro was problematic. That is just off-putting in the scheme of things. Your name, say something about the person you just met. If it's someone who is speaking, comment on that as a way to break the ice and get the conversation going, and then you can segue into, and by the way, I'm an entrepreneur.
Hello, my name is Ivan, and today I want to give you a water solution. Do you know that the nitrate is a harmful substance that can be inside people's diseases and also some of infectious diseases that can cause in the body? Actually, these nitrates are being found inside the water, which we use in the crop, in the farming, agricultural tech field. We want to use these solutions by using bacteria and trying to degrade the substance of nitrate, and being it together, we will try to provide an eco-solution.
Ivan, I do encourage you as well to make sure you're tying it back to something in the investor's speech so that there's a clear tie and that individual is immediately kind of on pins and needles wanting to understand more about your business because of how you were able to tie it to what he spoke about. A nice job running through your services. Slow it down a little bit. Make sure everything you're talking about is coming across very clearly and concisely.
Here are the contestant results for this week on the +1 leaderboard.
Congratulations to Sid. He's taken the top spot on the leaderboard and continues to do fantastic in this competition.
There's a mini challenge this week.
In this week's mini challenge called Match the Stat, contestants had to answer 5 eco-trivia questions correctly.
I'm gonna go with 2040. Oh, nice! This one? I think it's 30%. Yeah, nice. 70%. Okay. So. $52%? No way. I'm gonna say 14 billion. Oh yeah?
Greg won this mini challenge, providing 4 correct answers out of 5 questions.
Contestant results for this week on the +1 leaderboard.
Greg and Kushi are now tied for total points, and they are both bringing their A game to this competition.
When I was trying to improve my mental health and find different activities that I could do and incorporate into my life, when I was looking at cold plunges and cold water therapy, I came across a guy on the internet named Wim Hof. I started to learn a lot about him, and I ended up going on an expedition with him in Poland in the winter, and it was a week-long training camp that culminated in a 3.5-hour climb up a mountain The temperature was about -11 to -13 degrees Celsius, and I was just in my shorts and hiking boots. And I got such benefits out of that, and it made me feel like I could achieve much more than I believed I could. And so I ended up training with him, and I became an instructor. Because it helped me so much, I'd love to be able to help people as well. It keeps you on the right path, it keeps you on a good track. And yeah, it's been massively beneficial, and I love the cold.
We are on Robson Street, where there is lots of different stores, most of which are selling lots of clothes that have stretch in them, which means that they are made from spandex, petroleum-derived fibers, nylon, polyester, and are very, very harmful to the environment and are being bought at large, massive scales.
We have 4 more episodes for your favorite contestant to make it to the semifinals. If you want to help them, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. And follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and more. We want to hear your comments. Who's your favorite contestant? See you next week.